another amazing keynote. I'm happy, beyond stoked, to welcome Myladie Stoumbou. She's the Regional Director of Microsoft. She's here with us today. Myladie, if you want to ask to share the screen, we'll get you up on the stage. Myladie is a TEDx speaker, an innovation strategist, startup mentor, and a woman leadership advocate, amongst other talents. She participates and supports women empowerment initiatives such as the Women at Microsoft CEE Chapter, and she's a mentor for the Microsoft Innovation Center in Greece and the MIT Enterprise Forum, just to name a few. So Myladie is going to be talking with us today about dispelling the myth of David versus Goliath, and we're so happy to have you with us. Myladie, the stage is yours.
Hello. It's great to be with you. Can you hear me? Can you see?
I can hear you. Yep. Yeah, I will stick around until you get your slides up, and then I'll pop off, and then I'll be back at the end to help with the Q&A.
Okay. Just let me know when my slides are up.
Okay.
No? Not
nope,
yet?
I don't see anything yet.
Okay, let me try again. Entire screen share. So you can see my slides now?
Yep.
Great.
Yep, it looks great.
Super. Thank you very much, Mary, and the organizers for the opportunity to be with you today. I'm very excited about Untold Stories 2021 in Budapest. A region that I feel very close to, as I have been working in that region for many years now. And I have been, excited to get to know the innovation coming from this region. I don't need to introduce myself a lot. I think Mary said a lot about me. I am currently Regional Director at Microsoft, and my role is to develop the ISV, the independent software vendor, and scale-up ecosystem for Microsoft Central Eastern Europe. Central Eastern Europe for Microsoft is 33 countries in Central Eastern Europe, and Hungary is at the center of Central and Eastern Europe, so I'm really happy to be here. I am a computer engineer. I studied computer engineering many years ago, but I have been working in different roles in the tech industry for 25 years now. And one of the things that I feel proud about is the opportunity to build high-performance global teams and the ability to solve complex problems. And that, I think, is something that many of you in the audience are trying to do also today. I'm a mentor for startups in MIT Enterprise Forum and the European Innovation Council. And of course, as I support women empowerment as well, as I know there are very few women that are active as entrepreneurs in the tech industry. Now, moving on, I said I would dispel today the myth of David versus Goliath, or if I say that in our own terms, startups versus corporations. Why I chose this title? In many of the discussions with my colleagues and the startup ecosystem across the countries, people have been, having bias against each other. On the startup side, the corporations are not that innovative. They're not moving very fast. They're rigid. They're slow in making decisions. They are not the innovation leaders. On the corporation side, the startups might be the innovation leaders, but at the same time, many times they don't have a plan. Many times they're aspiring too high, but they don't have the execution capability to land this. The team is not complete, etc., etc. But I want all of us, as I walk you through the presentation today, to think about, is this a battle that is worth fighting for? Let me explain why I chose this topic. I think over the past 2 years, we are living in times of unprecedented change. Many of the analysts discussed about the COVID pandemic as a black swan, meaning an event that would not be able to be predicted and that would have tremendous impact on the lives and the businesses across the globe. And the pandemic has been such event, right? That the pandemic impact was a global. It affected our lives. It affected the way we do business. It affected the services we have available from our governments. But there are people debating whether it could have been predicted or not. Still, it was a huge change. And in that change, governments, and corporations, big or small, they had to adapt. And they had to adapt very fast. And what we saw over the past months is that we saw big organizations, not only the small and agile ones, to really adapt to this change. We saw our governments creating new online services for the citizens. I come from a country, Greece. We are not famous about our public sector efficiency, but I can tell you in the last 2 years, the government has announced and issued a lot of online services for the citizens. I know across Central and Eastern Europe, many governments switched also to online schooling and learning, and the students were able to adapt into this new reality. Businesses did the same. Okay, they switched to automation, they switched to remote work. We are now all more familiar from working of anywhere. Actually, what happened with the pandemic is that trends that were there before, like automation, like work from anywhere, like digitalization, have been in strong acceleration as an outcome of that. Satya Nadella in Microsoft said at some point that we've experienced 2 months of pandemic, 2 years of digital transformation. I would say we've experienced in Europe many more years of digital acceleration because of the pandemic impact. And with that in mind, I want to share an example that for me, it was really eye-opener. Okay, we all know the Pfizer-BioNTech partnership about the mRNA vaccine. For me, this is a great learning about the future. These times of change, these times of uncertainty, these times also of emergency and urgency at scale require different partnerships. So Pfizer is an established pharma company with worldwide presence, with global capacity to execute and deliver. And BioNTech is a bioengineering startup who has been experimenting for years in the mRNA vaccine technology. They join forces. They join forces to deliver the vaccine, the new vaccine to the world. They join forces on a common purpose. So innovation coming from mRNA technology that BioNTech was experimenting on is now delivered globally at scale with Pfizer. Pfizer had the opportunity to deliver, had the opportunity to sign government deals at a global scale. They had the opportunity chain, okay, to execute the supply of these vaccines, and that's how we had the opportunity as citizens in those countries to get our own COVID vaccine. So instead of competing, they designed to increase their joint competitiveness. So talking about, the times of uncertainty, talking about the times of change that we are in, we need to have this mindset change. Okay, when we talk about adapting to change, when we talk about innovating, whether we talk about launching new products, it's a matter of thinking about the risks we are taking on an individual level, corporations and startups. Is it something we should have on our own, or is it something we can share? Are we restricting ourselves to the limited resources we have today? Or are we combining forces to have more abundant resources so that we are able to innovate faster and to execute at scale? Innovation is great and it's disruptive and it can change things. But if it's combined with execution, with delivery and commercialization, it can move much faster. The BioNTech partnership delivered the vaccines faster than those two companies would deliver if they were not working together. So we need to change our mindset from competing to each other to increasing our competitiveness together. I will pause one moment to reflect on Microsoft path. I work for one of the big global companies, Microsoft, but it used to be a startup as well. We rarely reflect on those days, but Microsoft was founded in Albuquerque, in a garage, actually in 1975. And the total VC that Microsoft raised at that time was $1 million. It sounds now so small, such a small amount, but consider with $1 million of VC, Microsoft has become the global company that it is today. And then when we look at Microsoft today, we are also investing and we are also working with the startup industry. We are getting a lot of innovation from different regions in the world to include into our own innovation and our own product strategy. And of course, here in that slide, you can see some of the names that are very familiar, like LinkedIn and Skype and GitHub and Minecraft. But there is also a lot of sophisticated solutions that are very specific to certain technologies, like Nuance, a recent one, that is conversational AI solution. Softomotive is a robotics automation solution, actually coming from Central and Eastern Europe. Store Simple was a cloud storage solution. So many of these solutions were coming from my venture arm. This is the M12. And the M12 has been active over the past 5 years with increased investments into startups worldwide, starting with 15 investments in 2016. And last year we had investments in 55 companies globally. Satya said, I think, in this statement about our culture, the ethos of being partner-led. This is what Microsoft stands for, helping every organization in the planet to achieve more. And to do that, we need more partnerships. And with that, I would like to summarize what, in my view, startups need to be able to be successful. First, they need access to technology, and they need access to knowledge on tools, knowledge on technologies, knowledge on new trends, etc. Access to opportunities to scale and grow, access to customers, access to go-to-market activities, etc. Networking opportunities, community building, and learning from the champions, getting, the best out of two worlds, from the startup innovation and the corporate, execution. And with that, I was thinking, for example, I have 2 children. I would potentially, I have cooked many and baked many cookies in my life. If I would start, the easiest startup I would start would be a cookies as a service. So I want to walk you through that process, startup journey, to show you how you could partner with Microsoft on each step of the journey. So the startup lifecycle has 3 main stages, okay? We are first at discovery. We have a main idea and we need to set up the team, set up the company and start creating a product, right? Then there is the validation stage where we do have an MVP and we need to check, does this fit the market demand? Is it something that the customers would buy? And then, of course, when we solve this and we have the first customers, we want to accelerate the growth. We want to attract new customers. We want to go to new markets, etc. So in the discovery stage, a partnership with Microsoft can help you with access to free technology and to training. There's so many workshops, so many trainings happening around the best of the breed technologies like AI, like IoT, like anything you can imagine happening all the time. And of course, access to people who can give you expert advice, mentors, people who have been there before, or people who have strong knowledge about how businesses work, what customers are looking for. This is also very important. We are building a community with startups, with VCs, with partners, and of course, later on with customers, so that the startups can leverage from learnings all the way. Then in the validation, of course, we are going deeper with the technical enablement, and we continue support with mentorship and workshops and classes. But then once a solution is validated, there is an access to our network of VCs and partners. We have a marketplace, a cloud marketplace, that is also a great vehicle for a startup to become globally present and globally visible. And we are helping by introducing to the first customers, our own customers. So introducing a startup, a mature startup, into our first customers. And then on the growth, we of course offer paid and free business tools, depending on the needs. But I think the biggest thing is making sure that the startup is getting into our own partner community and is becoming a Microsoft partner. We have a unique value proposition for partnering with Microsoft, particularly on the software as a service side of the business and the cloud solution business, which includes customer introduction, co-selling with Microsoft sellers on different customer segments, and joint go-to-market activities. And with that, we have supported startups from this region into geo-expansion in other regions. Currently, we are supporting scale-ups from Central and Eastern Europe to enter UK, Western Europe, US markets, APAC, LATAM, you name it. This whole strategy is fully aligned with how we see the Central and Eastern Europe region. For us, Central and Eastern Europe is a region very rich into human talent, that has a lot of developers and a lot of technical talent. But it has been, I would say, impacted by brain drain over the past years as people were moving outside of their countries to seek, let's say, a better future elsewhere. What we are trying in Microsoft to do is to help people to stay where they are. And we want to innovate and to export innovation coming from Central and Eastern Europe and not export brains. We want to export the IP, not the people. This is what we call Central Eastern Europe can be a digital hotspot that is coding for the world. And this is our mission, actually, to support the region with that. I think the COVID is only facilitating this move because people know now that they can work from anywhere. Location is now irrelevant. You can be in Budapest and you can have a startup with global presence, and we are here to support that. In closing, I want to say one thing. I want to get back to the myth of David and Goliath, and I would change now the roles, and I would say we are all David. Okay, corporations and startups alike, we are small versus the uncertainty and the amount of changes that are coming upon us every now and then. So if I look at Goliath as the, that element, the uncertainty, I would say there are still learnings we can get out of this myth. We need to overcome our fears. We need to take action, not freezing by fear, but taking action. We need to appreciate and leverage our skills, our strengths, our capabilities. We need to remain humble, but believe that it's possible. Thank you very much. Mary, back to you.
Hi, Myladie. Thank you so much. That was a great presentation. Very inspiring. I'm getting hungry for cookies. So we have a few questions from our audience, yes. But if anybody has more, please, there's still time, so you can go ahead and post them. Let's see. Okay, so I guess it sounds great. This is the happy path of how David and Goliath can work together. But what would you say are some of the biggest challenges for corporates that are trying to work with startups?
I think one of the things that I found, many times there is a bias that when you come from a corporation, you don't have an understanding of the challenges that the startup is facing, particularly in the early years. So many times people tell me, you don't understand me. I have to pay salaries. I have to pay, the rent and the bills, etc. And it's true. I have to say, I have not been in those shoes before personally. But what I can say is that there are so many learnings that many of us working in corporations have that we consider a given, that is also exchange and a great learning for us. We can share insights that people in the world don't have always the opportunity to learn. And the faster you learn, then the better it is, because you are able to get some of the champion, I would say, best practice into your own business early enough. I think the biggest bias comes with the startups that are in the first scale-up stages, when they really need to get a little bit back, to leave a little bit behind the emotion. I created this, it's my baby, right, and think professionally about the business. And here a corporation is a great, let's say, supporter into giving learnings and into mentoring, because you will have to make decisions that would not please everybody in the team. You will have to bring in people with other skills and capabilities into the organization. I think that is a point where you see a lot of, I would say, frustration and friction sometimes, where corporate can help. I hope I answered.
Yeah, definitely. I think you make a great point too about the different stages, so it's very different to work with, a very early stage startup that's just in the prototype or MVP versus with, a startup that's more of a scale up and has a little bit more of a defined model, and maybe more maturity about how to engage with the corporate. Great. Okay. So yeah, there was a question here, but it looks like it got taken down. I was going to ask it anyway, but there was a logo that you listed on the companies that Microsoft has worked with about Sunrise, this calendaring app, and whatever happened to that service, because I think it was shut down shortly after the acquisition.
So look, companies are coming into the portfolio, and sometimes you get the best of the technology and you integrate it into existing technology that you have, okay? That doesn't diminish, let's say, the quality of the solution that you acquired, okay? It just makes it integrated with a technology stack. In Microsoft, I think we had two ways of, let's say, acquiring startups. There are startups that we acquired and they stay as independent service because there is a reason. There's a business reason for that. LinkedIn is such an example. The Skype free version is such an example. The consumer version for Skype is such an example. Although the business version of Skype is now fully integrated into Teams, because there was a platform there and we got the best of two worlds. That's what I want to give the people as a message. You get the best of two worlds, and then it's a matter of, business decision, how you brand the product, how you go to market with the product, etc. That doesn't diminish, though, the quality of the solution and the reason it was acquired.
Sense. And the last audience question is, what's your favorite type of cookie? I think they were also getting hungry from seeing all the slides.
I can eat all. I try to to refrain myself because I'm working from home, and I don't exercise as much as I don't want to. If I can say something, I like traditional cookies more. So whenever I travel somewhere, I try to find the most, authentic pieces to try. And I think in the region, we've been having a great selection of those. So not the ones I cook, the ones that others prepare for me based on their own, local stuff.
Yeah, great. I have another question. I was wondering, I know you mentioned that the CE region is, a pretty big region, 33 countries, and you see a lot of talent and a lot of exciting things coming out of here. Maybe could you tell us, one or two success stories recently? What do you think are going to be the next big companies from this region?
I can give you some examples of European unicorns that we have worked with over the last years. They're coming from, I would say, small countries, in a sense that it's not like the most common, I would say, countries you would look at. I want to highlight two things, two of them. One is, for example, UiPath. UiPath is a company that has its engineering in Romania. It is a robotics process automation vendor listed currently by Gartner as one of the leaders in that front. And they have a global footprint. And they started as a startup in Romania, and they are now one of the biggest Microsoft partners worldwide. We are working with them to introduce them to customers in different regions, etc. That's one company. The second one is Infobip from Croatia. This is a marketing platform. If you have, for example, received SMSs from banks, most probably their solution is behind. They have 700 banking customers worldwide, but not only. It's one of the latest European unicorns. Company based out the coast of Croatia, not even Zagreb, okay? They're not in the capital. They are in a coastal city, a small coastal city in Croatia. They started there. They are now one of the biggest companies with this technology worldwide, and also a very big Microsoft partner in the region.
Great. Yeah, those are great. We'll have to take a look at those also. Have you ever been to Budapest before?
Many times,
Many
many
times.
times. I love Budapest. It's a beautiful city. I have friends in Hungary. I wish I was there today, to be honest. I haven't traveled for a long time due to the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I love goulash as well.
Ah, good. Yes. Good. Well, we hope to get you out here the next time. Hopefully next year for this conference, we'll be able to all be together in person, and it would be great to host you again. Well, thank you so much, Myladie. Our time, I think, is about to run out. If you have any final words or advice for any companies listening in about how they can stay strong and try to work with some corporates.
I think all of us need to be open-minded. Okay, the opportunity is out there, and the world is becoming location agnostic, as I discussed,
Yes.
but also more digital, more automated, and more human. Okay, I would say more human, because we see also the companies focusing more on the people and the people agenda, corporations and startups alike. I think there is a lot of opportunity to work together in the region. It's just a matter of, be open-minded, explore how we can increase competitiveness, as I said, join forces, reduce our own risks, okay, and have more resources to make it happen. And we are here as Microsoft to support the startups of the region to grow.
Excellent. Great. Well, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, congratulations on the success. And I think Microsoft is really a great partner for startups. So I hope that we have lots here who will take you up on that offer and work together. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. It was great being here with you. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.